In this video, we're going to show you how to install the valve cover on your Ford Focus located on the top side of the engine. Now with the hood open, I'm going to go ahead and start to disconnect a series of connectors here. I'm going to start here, push down on this little tab and pull this off. And on your coils, you can normally leave these connected, and we're just going to unbolt the 8mm screws here. It all depends on what you want to do. But same thing, just push down on the tab on the back side and slide these off. Across the front here, there's just going to be some plastic retainer tabs. Pull those off. It's going to give you a little bit of flexibility here. Right across the front here, behind the fuel rail, there's going to be your fuel injector connectors. Do the same thing, pinch that tab and pull. There's only 4 of these. In the top center here, pull this wire up, a little boot, and then right down inside there's going to be another connector we need to disconnect. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and remove our coils. That's going to allow us for a little more access to that connector. So grab your 8mm socket and your ratchet, and we're going to go ahead and remove these 4. And then grab these coils, you're going to gently twist and lift up at the same time. Sometimes the coil will pop out like that. It's not that big of a deal. It just leaves the rubber boot in here. You can use a trim tool or a pair of pliers to go ahead and grab that boot, pull that up and out. Now, if that did happen to you, simply take this, slide this back in, and then push it right over. And it's all reassembled. Sometimes this will happen with higher mileage vehicles where the rubber boot itself will stick inside. Now on the center connector here, I'm going to use a pocket screwdriver, and there's a little push tab right here. You're going to push in on out. You can't really get your finger in there, so I'm going to simply use the pocket screwdriver. I'm going to push in on that tab and pull this up and off. Across the back here, we have this cable. I'm going to go ahead and pull up on the retainers. So I'm basically just going to put my fingers underneath here and pry this up. And sometimes these plastic pieces are brittle, so I'll have to re-secure that another way later. Now on the back here, we have the vacuum port that comes into the valve cover. Now on the bottom side of this is going to be a little tab that you push over and then pull this off. Now along the back side here, we have this bracket, and it's held in place by a single 13mm bolt. So I'm going to use my shallow 13 and my swivel head ratchet to go ahead and loosen and remove this bolt. I'm going to pull that bolt out and pull this out. Now our valve cover is held in place by 14 8mm bolts. There's going to be 2 of them right in the center. 1, 2, and then the rest are all the way around the perimeter. So we're going to start by loosening the center ones. Now these bolts are generally a capture bolt. So the bolt itself will kind of stay in place here. This bolt here, the capture unit itself, must have been defective or broken. But we're going to move to the outside here and start to remove the rest. Now before we remove the valve cover, you want to go around and make sure that the bolts, if they are captured, that they are staying in place. We don't want to lift this up and have one of them fall down inside the engine. Perfect. At this point here, I'm going to go ahead and pull your harnesses to the side, make sure you have room to clear, and start to lift up the valve cover up and off of the engine. Before we install the valve cover, we want to go ahead and we want to gain access to the top of our cylinder head here. And we want to go ahead and clean the surface all the way around the perimeter. But the main thing you want to pay attention to is right where the timing cover meets the cylinder head. There should be a little bit of RTV gasket here, and on the other side of the chain right over here where the cover meets up to the cylinder head. And we need to go ahead and clean that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a plastic razor blade here to try and get in there and clean that, scraping that away from the engine. You can see that chunk right there. Want to clean that and get rid of that. And our goal here is we want to make sure that that is nice and clean, because we need to apply a little bit of new RTV there, or sealant material, before we drop our valve cover into place. Let's go ahead and get the other side here. Now at this point we can use some spray solvent. Do not spray it into the engine. Spray your rag or your towel. And then simply go around the perimeter, wiping away from the engine, not into it, cleaning up that surface. Be careful while doing this, wiping and cleaning this, doing a visual inspection of the aluminum. Now that we have the cylinder head cleaned up, we're going to take a dab of RTV, and we need to put some here. And we need to put some right over here on the other seam. Now what we want to do is basically just place it there. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just like that. Let's go ahead and feed our valve cover into the back section over here. And then slowly lower this down in a position. You can go around the perimeter and just generally kind of line up those studs. And once it seems like that valve cover is pretty much lined up where it needs to go, we can then gently run those bolts into position, but we're not going to tighten them. At this point here, I'm confident we have all of our bolts started. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run all these bolts down, and I'm just going to gently seat them. I'm not going to tighten them because they have to be torqued in a particular pattern. Now with all of these gently seated, we're now going to go ahead and torque them down. Now you're going to follow the pattern that we have up on the screen here, and it's going to be 7.4 foot-pounds or 89 inch-pounds. And you want to follow along this pattern. I'm just going to come back to 1 and 2 again here just to double check. If you want to, you can continue out one more time to make sure everything is at that 7.4 foot-pounds. On the back side here, we're going to get this bracket started. I'm going to run that bolt in as far as I can by hand. And then I'm just going to gently snug that down. Let's go ahead and install our ignition coils. Before we install that other coiler, we're going to get this connector installed, make it a little bit easier. Line that up, push it down and on. You're going to hear it and feel it pop in, and then go ahead and install that little rubber boot. Drop in that other coil. And let's go ahead and snug these bolts down. Grab your connector for the coils. And go ahead and line those up, pop those on. Come right around to the front and install your injector harness. And do the same thing, just line them up, press them on, you're going to hear them click. Install the mounting tabs here. Now on the old valve cover here, we want to go ahead and remove the sensor, 8mm bolt. We're going to reuse that bolt, so hold on to that. Just grab that sensor, give it a little twist, and pop that up and out. And take that sensor, line that up, and push that in. Get that bolt started here. And we're going to go ahead and snug that down. Once it bottoms out, just give it a hair bit more just to snug it gently. Then we'll go ahead and take that connector, line that up, and push that on. You're going to hear it and feel it lock into place. Now on the back side here, we have our vent tube. We're just going to line that up on the valve cover. And we can simply push that on. And there it is. You're going to feel and hear it lock on. Now I want to go ahead and re-anchor our cable on the back here. This piece here is broken. I'm going to go ahead and remove it. If you have one to replace it, fantastic. Go ahead and do so. I'm going to anchor this one down. And from the factory on the back side here, right on the back side of this bracket, there's a little hole. So we're going to install a new strap here. Holding that up out of the way, and just cut off the excess. Now that we have the two sides here of this anchored, but this piece here had broken off, we don't want to risk this rubbing through on this stud here. So simple little trick, grab a piece of old fuel line, or you can grab some vacuum hose, wrap it around there, and we're just going to wrap this. I'm going to pop this back up so we have a little more flexibility. Wrap this, and this is more of a safety thing. I want to make sure that we don't run into an issue here. And then if you wanted to, you could always run a little tie strap around this here just to hold this down and around there. Now that we're done anchoring our cable here, we're all set. Go ahead and go for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.